check, sound check. This is gonna be the most challenging live I've ever done. I have my braces in. I apologize. Apologize. It's gonna be rough, but man, I've got some really important stuff to share with you guys. I could not wait another day, and I just wanted to get this information out to you. So please be patient with me and my freaking crooked teeth. Here. Yeah. I'm not showing aggression. I'm just letting you see like the top ones are tooth color, the bottom ones are metal. I got them on the day before yesterday. It's been miserable AF ever since, but I'm glad that I did it. Okay. Hit your like button if you don't mind, and turn on your notification bell to ring a ding ding. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like the way I can't talk with my braces on. And it's going to take a long time to get used to. What's that one? Subscribe? Yeah, please subscribe and make sure that you're still subscribed. I have so much, like, really, really important information to give to you guys. So, like I said, please be patient with me. I don't have the wherewithal to be all cute and fun and all that stuff, but Anna Bees is here and she'll be the wind under my wings. I hope you're doing okay. Oh, I could just cry because you're here. And I haven't been able to picture how I would even do this live. This damn brace face. Holy crap, Batman. But we're here. How are you, my dear? I'm so happy to see you. And it is the anniversary of our dear Kylie getting lost in the effing woods. And yeah, we all know that's not how it went down. Oh, dear Kylie. A moment of silence. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an infotainment platform. And you know, Kylie had braces at one point, so if she could do it, I can do it. I do think it's harder as you get older, but I think it's hard at any age. Definitely. Mrs. Amir, did you get your bracelet yet? Did you? It should be there any minute. Yes, Kylie has been on my mind. Did you see the AI video that Squirrels on Fire dropped? I think it was yesterday. It's really good. It's really good. Of course, Shan is very skilled and talented and passionate about that. And hello, Jazz and Anna Bees here lurking, watching on TV. Oh, how exciting. I'm on TV. Okay, so I don't know if the lighting is okay. I look very pink, but I'm just going to try to not worry about it unless you guys want me to adjust something. I can try a little bit of adjustment. Let's see what I can do. And I don't want to knock it all down. You know how I always say I will. I'm not allowed to touch nothing. That's kind of my rule when I'm on live, because once I start touching stuff, it'll all come tumbling down. So Anna B says, I did see it. It was great. Shan is so talented. Yes, she is. She absolutely is. So I'm really curious. Do either of you know what part of Mexico Kylie went to visit with Mags and her mom? Because it's always been my understanding that she had just gotten back from a vacation to Mexico. Just her, Mags, and Mags's mom. I remember early on, a lot of us wondered if that had anything to do with anything. In fact, the IUD that she had in as a 16-year-old, like a white plastic IUD that was in her autopsy. Terrible. Apparently, that's what happens when you get a terminated pregnancy, a therapeutic termination of a pregnancy in Mexico, is that they'll install one of those no matter what your age is. So I think that made a lot of us question, because it is unusual for a 16-year-old to have an IUD. That's just weird. I do not know where. We'll see. And I'm wondering if it's Acapulco. I know I kept getting Acapulco and Aruba confused last week. And part of that reason isn't just because they both begin with an A and they're both in South America, but they both have had that restaurant, Carlos and Charlie's. And I am convinced more than ever, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly, that Carlos and Charlie's had some kind of organized trafficking, transporting type of thing going on. And that Natalie Holloway, I was just listening to a video this morning or last night. I think it was on Katie Fang. And her guest, maybe it wasn't Katie Fang. It was E. Jean Carroll on. Was she on with MSNBC host Collins, the tall one with the straight brown hair that Trump loves and hates so much? Anyway, E. Jean Carroll, I think, was who said it about that attorney, Taco Pina, who was the attorney that lost the case against E. Jean Carroll, but then basically won for Joran van der Sloot's freedom. And she said specifically in that bludgeoning case with Natalie Holloway, bludgeoning. Again, trigger warning. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's the only other person that I've seen tie the two together. Of course, E. Jean Carroll would, because she knew Joe Taco Pina well from him representing the defendant in her two lawsuits against Trumpster Fire. Fred is here. Yay. I do not know where. So yeah, I'm wondering if not Acapulco, so that Carlos and Charlie's, there's 55 locations worldwide. And I made the mistake in my last video of saying 55 locations in the US. I meant worldwide. So one of them was opened literally 3 miles away from Mar-a-Lago, which also has secret passageways underneath. A lot of tropical islands have caves and tunnels just naturally. I wonder about Epstein Island. Anyway, how are you, Fred? Here for just a few. Break, cool down from mowing back lawn before doing front. Justice for Kylie. Yes, absolutely. Justice for Kylie. 3 years ago today. So, here's a good quote for you. The person who writes the autopsy controls the case, right? Pretty simple. So I want to talk more about the nightmare, the absolute nightmare of the e-files, because I think that could very well tie in with Dear Kylie Rodney. And, part of me wants to just honor Kylie, of course, absolutely, with it being the anniversary of her disappearance. And another part of me wants to just have silence around that, because the last thing I want to do, I want to bring attention to it, but I certainly don't want to be in any way, shape, or form exploiting her tragedy, whatever that tragedy is. Jägermeister's tattoo, Stay Alive for Me, that's one of the things that really hangs me up on thinking that she might still be alive, actually. I don't know. I do not know. But what do you guys think? And did you guys see El Presidente running around on his rooftop yesterday yelling to the paparazzi and motioning like this and then like this? Was he? I think he was motioning like, how shall I say, without sounding too juvenile, an erection. There, that's how I shall say. He, was trying to motion like he was, and not like definitely not like a thing like a Elon might do at the inauguration. Definitely not that. I mean, it could have been a modified version, but it seemed to me he was trying to say something about how he was going to put nuclear warheads on the roof of the White House. Honestly, I think the whole thing was a distraction tactic. I think he's desperate AF. Like, I fully expect him to be standing on his head today, right? Just anything to get people to focus on something else. I think that that's what that was. I think it was contrived. I don't think it was anything but a last ditch effort of what the F can we do to distract the public from these damn pesky little e-files. I try not to see him. Well, this is actually worth seeing. Anna B's. He was on the roof yesterday of the White House yelling to the paparazzi. And so you couldn't hear him because of the distance, but he did this motion like, I don't know, like a dome or something. And that was right before I think he said something about nuclear missiles or something. And I'm just thinking, everything is sexual for him, everything. And, boys, they love their rockets and their missiles and their phallic symbols, don't they? And he's such a freaking child. Did you see he won a whole bunch of Olympic medals yesterday or the day before? And of course, the first thing he says is, can I lie, basically? Can I say I won them athletically? It's just like, we know that that's where your brain goes. And of course, you're going to say it like you're kidding, haha, when you ask it right now. But we know who you are, dude. You're insane. Completely insane. I just can't believe we're at this juncture. But what are the most important highlights that I want to say about it all? Tonight, they're having some kind of secret dinner that has leaked at JD Vance's house on like some kind of panic preparedness for what to do at this juncture, allegedly, apparently. Good luck. There's no way out. There's absolutely no way out. I hope, fingers crossed. So there's no way out for Ghislaine Jism. There's no way out for Donnie. And shouldn't they just like be together and live happily ever after? But I want to readdress something I've brought up just once or twice lately, which is this whole thing with our El Presidente, how they say that he's post-sexual. Have you guys heard that? He's post-sexual. Okay, phew, thank God, because I did not want to think about him and Pamela Joe or Caroline with a K or Laura Loomer. We know Melania is keeping her distance. We don't want to think about him with anybody. So I think a lot of us will try to believe that. But he's an addict. He's a self-confessed addict who can't control himself around beautiful women. Those things don't go away as you get older. You get grosser. You just turn into a dirtier, older creep. I think that they're trying to sell us on him being post-sexual because they don't want anybody to think about where he's feeding his addiction at this point in time. My guess would be the ones that I mentioned, his employees, that I mentioned, and maybe not. I mean, he fantasizes about it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did too, because it's not about anything except power and money for them. Gold diggers. There's another term, star effers, right? That was a really good Rolling Stones song. But also, if he was into young ones, then it seems more and more like he was, maybe is. Why would he give that up if he's the most powerful man in the world? Why would he give that up? Oh, some dog's trying to bust down the door. I can only deal with my braces and one dog right now. Coco, come here, baby. Come here, honey. Come here. I set up a little bed for her right here. Coco, come here. Come here, honey. I forgot to bring treats. But yeah, you can kind of see her moving around down there. Anyway, what say you? Why would they give him the Olympic medals? Because he's a child, and they're talking about the Olympics that will be happening in our country while he is in the leadership role. If he maintains, I think he's crashing. I think the end is now. Now is now. Not the end is near. I think the end is now. And that, I already thought that before this dinner thing that I heard about at JD's house tonight. I just heard about that like an hour ago. I've been thinking that the end is now for a couple of weeks, at the prior to each weekend, the last couple of weeks. I think I've said to my viewers, I don't think he's going to make it past the weekend. We'll see. I really think he's in that death throes, and he just won't give up. He's trying to hold on as long as he can, because the longer he can hold on, the more of these bullshit things they can pass through, like that disgusting Judge Emile Bove that they just confirmed. What a nightmare. He looks like the most ghoulish henchman you've ever seen in your life. If you don't know who I'm talking about, just Google Emile Bove, and I'm sure you'll agree. Like, there's absolutely no question about it. Anyway, they're trying to do all this gerrymandering crap with Texas. They're trying to arrest people for this, that, and the other. So one of the most pressing things that I want to share with you guys, because I've been able to kind of relax a little bit while I've been trying to lay low with these braces. And when I relax a little bit is when my brain starts putting two and two together. Because how can we put two and two together when we're just bombarded with mass bull crap all day, every day? So did you hear about Big Balls getting mugged last night, essentially? So I'll just give you a brief rundown, and then I'll read the rest of your comments. Allegedly, I just think this is bull crap. Everything that comes out of this administration is bull crap. But I'll tell you what I think the motivation is. Okay, so Big Balls saw some teenagers trying to carjack an old lady, and he came to the rescue, and they beat him up. And because of this, Trump is essentially saying that he thinks it's time to declare martial law in D.C. And I'm summarizing, of course. This is my opinion. And he is saying that these thugs were like 15 years old, and that he wants to bring the age down to 14 for prosecuting criminals like adults. Okay. First of all, let's talk about that criminal that has been prosecuted for doing adult X-rated crap with kids that he is in the process of springing, right? His other BFF, Jizz. He's always talking about these criminals and how we got to clean up our streets, but then he's always springing these damn criminals from jail, these violent criminals. Jizz is a violent criminal, and I'm so sick of people saying this, because I think I've even said it too, where we say, oh, well, she actually participated in the Rex abuse as well as the grooming, the scheduling, the coordinating, basically the pimping, right? As if it's worse because she's hands on. Like, I don't know that it actually is worse that she's hands on. It's just a different facet of it. As if she was just trafficking or transporting, um, conspiring, tricking, laying the traps, setting these children up to be raped by grown ass, I can't even call them men, monsters. So if she didn't touch these girls inappropriately with her own hands, would she be any better? Like I said, I've said it too, and I think I've heard it everywhere. Like, oh well, she actually did the Rex abuse as well as the grooming and the, basically being the madame or whatever the F you want to call it. Running a brothel of kids, basically. I've just bit my tongue. Running a brothel of children. And then for the poor young women that are, say, 22 when the abuse started, then they're really questioned, and they even question themselves, like, well, why couldn't I protect myself? I'm a grown-ass woman. Why couldn't I just get out of there? So it's, in some ways, it's even harder for the adults when the abuse started for them as adults. But some of these kids were as young as 12. They try to stick with 14, but this is going back to the thing that I started a minute ago with freaking Big Balls getting his ass kicked in the streets last night, allegedly in DC. I don't buy any of it. Sure, something happened on the street. I do think that there was some street theater, but I think it was all plotted out for the purpose of let's declare martial law and let's start saying that 14-year-olds can be treated as adults, because I'm pretty sure our dear leader is about to get busted for documented abuse of 14-year-olds. So I think that's why they're doing this crap with Big Balls. I think it's another stunt, just like going on the roof yesterday was a stunt. There was another stunt yesterday. I can't even keep up. I mean, those two were the big ones, but there are mass every day, all day, every day. I'll look at my notes. I should have some more, and I have a lot of material to cover. I just don't know how long I can talk because damn, my lips hurt. I did bring my little thing of wax, but I don't want to be grossing you guys out with my drool and my wax, but I'm going to put a little bit on, and I'm going to read your comments. Fred says, I will try to catch the rest of the live later. I want to get done so I can relax. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I know. I love getting stuff done. I love getting projects done so then I can relax without feeling guilty, right? Be a couch potato. I got a lot of sewing done today. I did some good yoga last night. I have been giving myself a break with the teeth thing. So I'm going to put a little wax right there. Oh, man, that helps so much. It's crazy. It's just a lifesaver. So I apologize again. If I eat in front of you guys, I can play with the wax in my teeth in front of you guys, right? Tell me if it's gross and I'll stop doing it. I seriously, the last day and a half, I've been like, am I even going to be able to continue doing my YouTube the way I do? Like, maybe I should just start writing a Substack or something, because I'm going to have these on for 18 months. Let's see. And yeah, you probably couldn't have even understood me yesterday or the day before. Hopefully you can understand me today. I'll see if I can live with just that amount of wax. What happens is when I start putting it on, It feels so good. It's such a relief in the places that I put it that I'm like, oh, just a little more right there. Just one more right there until I have like all of it in my mouth. And then I definitely can't talk when I have all of it in my mouth. Okay, she was the madam. He is so sick. Okay, Fred, take it easy. Don't overdo it. Yes. She is sick too. Another distraction with big balls. Right. And it just so happens to be the one with that ridiculous nickname. Again, I mean, Trumpster Fire is all about the big balls, like that's the whole MAGA thing. Like, if you've seen some of those memes where they have like the airplane with the giant sack on the back of the airplane, like they put those sacks on everything. You've probably seen the giant ball sacks on big pickup trucks, because they're so macho. Uh-huh. Hold on. Melania nudes were released by Little P. Yeah. Melanoma. Melanoma. One sec. I'm reading your comment, Anna Bees. I can understand. You're just fine. Big E just gave Little T millions again. Oh, did he? I missed this, Anna. Was this just like in the last hour? Because you know me, I'm scouring the news constantly. But of course, I can't catch it all. And, I really enjoy just like slowing down and listening to like one really good interview after another really good interview. So today on House Sparks, he had Christopher Titus on, two of my favorites. And then he had another guest on. He had just wrapped up right before I came on. The Occupy Democrats channel is amazing. It's one of my favorites right now. And they just keep churning out video after video. And Midas Touch. I've got to give a huge shout out to Midas Touch. I already put a link in the description to one of their videos. In my last video, somebody was giving them a shout out, and I want to emphasize how much I appreciate every single channel that's talking about this crap. And I keep emphasizing how it's like the intersection of politics and true crime. It's not. It's simply true crime. It's simply true crime, in my opinion. So what was the thing that I put the timestamp to in that video? I think it was this. It's what I put in the title of this video. This huge Freudian slip from Trump yesterday. Huge Freudian slip. He said, are you ready? I put it in the title. And it's in the video, the Midas Touch video at the timestamp that I wrote into the description. He basically said other countries took advantage of the United States like we were children. Other countries took advantage of the United States like we were children. Need I say more? I'm going to repeat it one more time. The other countries took advantage of the United States like we were children. Why the F would you even say it like that? Huge Freudian slip. And it seems to me that he heard the words come out of his mouth and he did what he always does, which is then he just downloads a ton of word salad and hopes that other people didn't catch it. And so far, I haven't heard anyone else talk about it. I think that we will hear other people talk about it, whether it's because the buzz on the street from this little tiny channel and this little tiny video, or that other people notice. Either way, I don't care. We need to pay attention that the piece of scum is telling on himself. He's saying that other countries took advantage of the United States like we were children. So is he saying that children are dumb? Because children aren't dumb. And the only people that take advantage of children are freaking pervs, serial killers. People don't take advantage of children. People protect children. Why would you talk about a country taking advantage of another country as if that country were a child? I would almost talk about one country protecting another country as if they were a child. This MF told on himself. I think he heard the words as he spoke them and was like, oh crap, and then barfed up a bunch of word salad and took it down a couple of different rabbit holes and just kept running. And at the moment, I think it was successful for him, but I think we need to call it out. So please share at least that part of this video with anybody that you can. And I'll try to see if I can clip it and make a short or something. Damn. What a sick MF. So glad that he's telling on himself again and again and again. I'm glad you can understand me, Anna, because I can hardly understand myself. I think Adam Mockler was talking about it. Man, Adam Mockler and Luke Beasley have been all over everything. Occupy Democrats. Oh, the I've Had It chicks. Jennifer and Angie, that's their names. I think Angie is the one that goes by Pumps, but I could have it backwards. Anyway, Katie Fang, Katie Couric. These channels are kicking some butt. The Smart Elections. So they just dropped another video this morning, a short one. Sorry, my teeth kind of got stuck for a second. Smart Elections dropped another video about some election fraud that they have found. And they're not calling it voter fraud. They're calling it election fraud because it looks like the call is coming from inside the building. Like it's the Board of Elections that's doing it. And it's a really small part of Brooklyn. And what was the video that I was watching yesterday? I want to say it was a Katie Fang video about Brooklyn and about the same thing. Anyway, the Smart Elections video, I'll put a link in the description. I'll see if I can find what the other one was too. But I was like, wow, interesting that I caught both of those videos and they're both talking about Brooklyn, New York. So, we got all this crap going on with Texas, with the gerrymandering. I live in Ohio. I know exactly what gerrymandering is. For anybody that doesn't, I'll give a quick description. Gerrymandering is like, say if you have a city like Columbus that's filled with a bunch of Democratic tending voters, and then you've got a bunch of farmlands, and those might be more tending towards Republican votes, that the Republicans have been able to kind of splinter the population into these little subsections so that they can have a disproportionate influence over the elections, basically. I don't know if I described that very well, but what they do is they section off the parts of the state that are around a city like Philadelphia. That's a classic Democrat leaning area. And then if they can gerrymander parts of Philly and then get enough of the rural votes to be included in these little gerrymandered subsections. They can take the precinct, they can take the county, they can take the state, they can take the election. And this state of Ohio has been gerrymandered for a long time. The state of Ohio has voted Republican for a long time, but it's not a true representation. When you're in the farmland, yeah, Ohio seems like that. But when you're in the cities, not so much. So it's a misrepresentation. Basically, gerrymandering is a misrepresentation. It's manipulating the system so that you can win. And why are they allowed to do that? I mean, it's cray-cray, isn't it? Excuse me. So yeah, Adam Mockler, Luke Beasley have been rocking it. Absolutely rocking it. Boston Brian. Children know a lot. They can see the truth more than we adults can. Well, and they also know how to protect themselves and survive. They have good instincts. So, if it's like the fight, flight, or freeze, there have been reports of some of these models saying that if they didn't play ball and flirt with these old guys, these young models, and do more than flirt, that if they didn't, not only would they have their careers wrecked, but they could lose their lives too. Allegedly, some have been threatened like that. And yeah, if you ever tell, you don't ever tell. There's some reason there's some static noise, but now you sound fine as I am typing. I can't handle all this crap. This whole administration is corrupt. It's really bad, Anna. However, I think that talking about it is helpful. I know it's like therapy for one thing, but also just expressing ourselves and letting other people know that it's okay to recognize these things. It's okay to talk about it. I remember when I first started talking about it, and a couple of my viewers, I won't mention names, Fred, were like, oh, you better be careful. They're going to come after you. And I was like, yeah, I know, which is one of the reasons I had not said anything prior to the day before the elections. And, it's like the live free or die. Like, you can't let that fear paralyze you. You can't capitulate in advance. That's letting them win. That's giving them what they want. And that's just letting the bully take your lunch money, handing it over, basically. The static is back. Why do they care about my wee little channel and what I talk about with my brace face? Why do they care? So this is why they care, because Donnie didn't just allow Jeffrey to come to Mar-a-Lago and poach his spa people. He didn't just allow Ghislaine to do that. He was part of it. It was a setup. It was a whole system. He was part of the system. And maybe they had restaurants like Carlos and Charlie's 3 miles away that were also part of the system. I mean, it's Florida where this kind of thing is just rampant, CP is rampant. Look at Madeline Soto. Look at all the busts that happen in Florida every year. It's insane, isn't it? I mean, you've got Mickey Mouse living there. I love Disneyland and Disney World, but I don't like how many of their employees happen to be part of these CP rings. Always. They're always busting up these rings. I think there was one just a few days ago that was like 87 people arrested. I think it was Florida. It seems like it's usually like 160 people arrested. I remember that was a Florida one not too long ago. That was a Columbus, Ohio one not too long ago. And it's always like physicians, pediatric physicians, not just regular physicians, pediatric physicians from pediatric hospitals, and youth pastors. Like, think about JP Miller in Micah Miller's case. She was 15, maybe younger, when he started screwing her, and she was babysitting his 4 kids, and he was like 30. Jasmine Crockett is awesome. Yeah, she did a really good interview on, I think that was with the Collins. Let me see. Let me look at my history real quick. And why can't I think of Collins's name? So they're having an emergency meeting. Donnie Boy is having his emergency meeting. Also Lawrence O'Donnell, man, he's amazing, absolutely amazing. And I want to give a shout out to Park Rose Permaculture, if you haven't heard of her yet. I've been a little like with her because, to be just completely blunt, she's a lot like that Portlandia comedy, in my opinion. She actually is in Portland, but she's awesome. She's absolutely spot on. Sean Atwood, I think, is awesome too, but I want to give you guys my opinion because I did get an email from one of my viewers about this woman named Anya. I think she says her last name is Wick, like Wyke, I think, who claims that she's Jeffrey's niece and Shia LaBeouf's twin. And I think she might be full of it. I don't know. She talks crazy talk. She's just all over the place. But I've done some research. I can't find any evidence of her other than on Sean Atwood's channel. And I really like Sean Atwood, but, I don't know. I've thought of trying to communicate with him about it. Josh Johnson did a really good video about the pardon last night. Really good. I didn't get to catch all of it. But Keith Edwards, that was another one that we were talking about, who is so good. Oh my goodness, is this Mark Thompson? Do you guys know who Mark Thompson is? He's brilliant. I love this guy, Mark Thompson. I'm going to put a link in the description. So Caitlin Collins, I think, is the name of the MSNBC, or maybe she's CNN, actually. Caitlin Collins, I think, is CNN. And like I said, Donnie loves her and hates her. Caitlin Collins, newscaster, investigative journalism. CNN, yeah. She was the network's chief White House correspondent from January 2021 until November 2022. Interesting. So she would know a lot about the insurrection. No wonder he kind of has a hard on for her. Plus, she's really pretty and smart, and he doesn't like smart. He does like pretty. He definitely does not like smart. I mean, he'll call somebody like Caroline with a K smart. She's a freaking dumb biatch, in my humble opinion. Anyway, for him, you're smart if you suck up to him. That's his definition of smart, right? And my opinion is just the opposite. If you suck up to him, you're an idiot. Speaking of PDFs, Stephanie did a vid talking about Sandra Birchmore and connections to the Karen Reed case. Gotta write that down. Thank you for that. I'm not familiar with Stephanie So. I don't think Stephanie So, but I was interested in something that Mitch McConnell's wife did like yesterday, Elaine Chao. I'm like, I actually know who that is. They were talking about Elaine Chao. Something that she did just yesterday. I'll have to look that up. So Stephanie So and Sandra Birchmore. Horrible. Sandra Birchmore, Karen Reed. It's so crazy that law enforcement will frame somebody. The Karen Reed case is a good example. The Sandra Birchmore is a good example because Matthew Farwell tried to frame his mistress for self-harm. And why he was allowed to have anything to do with the case, I guess they didn't know that he was having an affair with her, but I find that hard to believe since it had been going on for like 8 years, right? She was like 23. Maybe she'd been there. I think she started volunteering with that Explorer program when she was 12, if I'm remembering right. And she was 4'10", and she never got any taller. And she was really cute. And those guys in that police department, the Canton Police Department, I looked it up a couple of days ago. It's like not Stouffer, Stoughton Police Department. Let's see. Stoughton, Massachusetts Police Department. Yeah, I think I said it right. I think it's Stoughton. Yep. Stoughton. Those guys are just dirtbags. So, yeah, the Stoughton Police Department and the Canton Police Department, those two cases had some overlapping key players. So Matthew Farwell wasn't the only officer to show up to Sandra Birchmore's apartment when they declared it self-injury, self-harm. And some of the other key players in that case were key players in the Karen Reed case. I'm trying to remember the timing because Sandra Birchmore was, I think, February of 2021. And then Karen Reed was after. But, these are just the two cases that we know about. If they're doing such extremely dark, evil things, there's more. Just like with little E, getting back to all that mess, they say that there's at least over 1,000 victims. I'm going to bet you it's thousands, but there's only a couple hundred, I think, that have self-identified. And a lot of them probably aren't with us anymore. A lot of them are probably afraid that if they spoke out, they wouldn't be with us anymore. And then some of them might just be in denial still that it ever happened and just blocked it out, right? Let's see. So, yeah, Stephanie So, I'll check that out. I like Park Rose permaculture. Well, I thought that she was right on. It's just that she was so much. Aren't you the one who told me about the Portlandia Annabees? So much like, and that just happens to be the 1 year that I lived in Portland, Oregon, was 93 to 94, which is like the year that television show Portlandia is kind of set in. I mean, it is like a chapter of my life. It's hilarious. It's so funny. I thought that Anya person was full of it too. Oh, Anna Bees, I'm so glad that you agree with me. Yeah, I mean, to me, she seems like an attention whore. And, I hate to say that about somebody that's claiming abuse, because if somebody's claiming that kind of abuse and it's not true, they're so beyond twisted. But they also might be getting paid to be a fake. So then they can say, well, see, she's fake. So they're all fake, right? I mean, she could be part of that crap. Oh, I saw that clip. Annabee says, no calls smart people low IQ. Yeah. He calls black people low IQ. That was something Jasmine Crockett pointed out today. I've heard him call her low IQ. I've heard him call AOC low IQ. In the last couple of days, he's called Charlemagne the God low IQ. They just happen to be black. I remember Caroline with the K said to a reporter, "That's a stupid question." And it was a long time before I saw the video footage that was a black female reporter that she said that to. And I was like, what a biatch. She would not have said that to a white dude. Speaking of white dudes, Marjorie Taylor Greene, her boyfriend, Brian Glenn, I think is his name. He's a fake reporter, and he fake asks Trumpster Fire stupid ass questions so that Trumpster Fire can try to sound like all big and bad. So some other idiot that was a female, but just like Brian Glenn, so obviously a plant, is like, well, with the Olympics, like, what are we going to do to test to make sure that these trans guys don't come in and beat up all of our girl athletes? How are we going to screen them out? How are we going to punish them? Are we going to feel them up? Or are we going to give them pap smears? What are we going to do? And Trump's just like, he literally said to, to piggyback on what you said there, Anna, about the low IQ people. How did he say it? We will test very strongly. Man, that low IQ rat bastard drives me nuts when he can't even use the word strongly correctly. He strongly misuses the word strongly. We're going to strongly test. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it strongly. It's just like, man, insecure much, sir? Oh, that's what I was thinking, Annabee. Stephanie So is the rotten mango. So I almost watched a video of hers recently. Yeah, she's really good. And I didn't watch it, but when you said Stephanie So, I was thinking of Rotten Mango. I wasn't sure if that was her. Thank you for that info. Yes, they do have overlapping law enforcement in both cases. Well, and like the overlapping law enforcement with, we can go to Idaho, we can go to Truckee. So, like with Kylie Rodney's case, again, since it's the anniversary and I'm wanting to like do a balance of honoring her tragedy and not exploiting her tragedy, the overlap of just that one Nevada County sheriff's deputy, Christopher Stanio, that worked on her case and worked on Trinity Backus's case and was the stepdad of Trinity Backus. Actually, I take it back. I don't know that he worked on Trinity Backus's case. But you've got to wonder, like, who else that worked on the Kylie Rodney case was working on the Trinity Backus case 3 months later? Then to come to find out that Christopher Stanio has an identical twin brother named Matthew Stanio, who just so happens to be a California State Highway Patrol trooper. And these are two relatively young, hot dudes in uniform in the Tahoe area. I don't know. A lot of law enforcement make extra money with corruption. And we know that that area is just beyond riddled with corruption. It is absolutely painted, immersed, saturated with corruption. Reno's saturated with corruption. Tahoe's saturated with corruption. You could say the whole state of Nevada, the whole state of California, saturated with corruption. Not to be overgeneralizing, but just to be honest, right? But the fact that they don't put that information out front, if they put that information out front, see, that's one of the ways that Trumpster Fire gets away with so much, is a lot of times he just puts it out front and then people just go, oh, like the Jism stuff and her getting moved after meeting with his private attorney and him saying that he didn't know anything about it, right? Wouldn't an appropriate response for somebody who hated child trafficking, wouldn't an appropriate response to that be to be incensed and to say, gosh, nabbit, dag nabbit, who did what? I got to get to the bottom of this. Don't you dare go giving preferential treatment to child exploiters. I'm just going back to that. The countries that took advantage of the United States like we were children. What did I just say? I just told on myself. And then right after that, part of his throwing the spaghetti at the wall and the word salad, he starts talking about paying down the debt. And that's what I do. I'm just making all this money so I can pay down the debt. And I think that's when he said, do you want those checks? Do you want some of that tariff money? Like carrot, distract, something shiny. OMG. And so what about Jism's nationality? She is French, British, and has U.S. nationality. Could she be deported? Could she have her visa revoked for all the crimes that she's committed? Isn't that exactly what Dear Leader talks about doing, is getting the criminals deported? The criminals that come into our country and assault our children and destroy their lives. Please stop the insanity, stop the madness. Yeah, he's always talking about these fake thugs, these imaginary thugs from other countries, that are like fruit pickers or dishwashers or something. But then these real life thugs, they're actually dirtbag, violent criminals that destroy lives. And he's protecting them because they're family in that dark Godfather type of way. So this is my prediction of what Dear Leader is going to do. Wandering around on the roof yesterday, acting all nutty, and then he was like talking on air to Newsmax or something, again, talking all nutty. I think he's going to get busted very soon for what's in those files. And for more and more witnesses are stepping forward and probably filing lawsuits that we're not even hearing about. But I think he's going to pull Michael Jeffries. To refresh your memory, if you don't remember, Michael Jeffries is the creep that's a lot like Jeffrey E. Also a protege of Leslie from the L Brands in Columbus, Ohio. Michael Jeffries is the one who abused all the Abercrombie and Fitch male models for over a decade, maybe a couple of decades, but I think it took a decade to get him arrested. He just got arrested this last October, and then he played dumb, unfit for trial. 80 years old. I've got too much dementia to be able to have a fair trial. That's how that has panned out. And what do you want to bet that's what Donnie tries to pull too if he has to? I think that's where this is going. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Why would Jism get to call the shots? Her and her attorney are saying that, it's okay to release the files, just not like this. Just you got to redact that and you got to do this. Huh? It's not up to her. That would be up to dear leader, but also a normal person would give a lot of credence to what the victims have to say about it. To try to say that she is some kind of scapegoat for little E is ridiculous. Little E had his charges. She had her charges separately. Remember, she ran and hid after he was Epsteined. She ran and hid. I think it took them almost a year to find her, hiding out in a luxurious, I wouldn't call it a cabin, more like a lodge in New Hampshire. People knew she was there. She was connected. So she was arrested in 2020. She was arrested when Dear Leader was still Dear Leader. And now it's like he flipped a switch. If he wanted to protect her, why didn't he do it back then? Just a question. I bet all the same players in the Trinity Bacchus case. Yeah, Anna Bees, you are the one who told me about Portlandia. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that one. But yeah, my husband likes it too. We crack up. We love that guy, Fred Armisen, the guy who created it, the lead actor. He's awesome. He was on Stephen Colbert, I think, last night, or one of those shows. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of the same players, because Trinity Bacchus was in Placer County, I think. I think Grass Valley is Placer County. It's hard to say. Placer County and Nevada County are both tall and skinny, and they're right next to each other. Nevada County, I think, like, goes at least to the Nevada border. It probably stops there because then it's probably a different county when you cross over the border. And Placer County comes up to Truckee. So yeah, all of Truckee is in Nevada County. And yeah, I think Placer County is heading towards Sacramento. So I'm pretty sure where Trinity went missing was Placer County. But also both Trinity and Kylie went missing in like national park areas. There's a new, I think it's new, this television show about like all the horrible crimes that happen in the Yosemite. It's interesting. My husband's been watching it. It's really nasty. It's like, wow, I never think about the types of things that park rangers are going to be exposed to. There was a lot of that in Washington State. My husband was basically in training to be a park ranger there, a enforcement officer for Department of Fish and Wildlife. And I never thought about, like, they were always wanting him to beef up his law enforcement, which was how he got into becoming a first responder. But I never really thought about, like, that's because you're going to be facing a lot of crime. Sometimes I'm just really thick, I swear. Because I think of the parks as just like where you go for nice hikes, the national forest. You might have an accident, somebody that gets lost or breaks a leg or something, but we all know that far more sinister things happen in those places too, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a really good place for criminals, due to kind of the murky jurisdiction, and it's just a lot easier to get away with crap. So, uh, could she be an agent like her dad? Annabise, yes. Jizz, more than likely. Absolutely. Um, Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, such a dirtbag. So Jiz knew Donnie longer than she knew Jeffrey. Her and Donnie go back longer than her and Jeffrey. What does that tell you? Fred Armisen is hilarious. Yes. And yeah, a little humor goes a long way in times like these, doesn't it? So, wow, I've already been talking for an hour and my tongue's not bleeding yet, but let me see what else I got here in my notes. Um, hmm. I want to know the story. People the last couple of days keep bringing up again and again, how did Donnie and Melania meet? I want to know how Donnie and Jeffrey met, because they don't talk about that. They just talk about how they both lived uh, near each other in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach. They also lived near each other in New York. But I'm gonna bet you that somebody like Vladdy probably introduced them, which is why they won't ever talk about the story of how they met. Because they could just say, a friend in New York introduced them, or they were just running in the same circles in Miami or north of Miami in West Palm Beach. But no, they just leave that part out. But I think that they're business partners. I think that they both did the transporting and the cleaning of the cash. I think they're both cash cleaners. That's what I think. And let's jump over to Kylie for a second, Anna Bees. I've asked this question a couple of times over the last 3 years, but I don't think I've asked it nearly enough. Why is there no surveillance footage of Kylie Rodney when she went to the city hall? Like a week before she went missing, she went to the city hall to pay, I think, a ticket. I think she got busted for driving without her driver's license, like she left it at home, or maybe she didn't have her proof of insurance on her. Something like that. She got a ticket and she showed up in person to pay it, right? Why wouldn't they have surveillance footage of her going into the courthouse? I think she was marked. I think she was marked by people locally. I think she was marked by people in Mexico. I think that that's why they never even talk about her going into that city hall. They never talk about her getting pulled over by law enforcement shortly before disappearing. Why would you leave that part out? Yeah, that makes me really suspicious. And just other surveillance too of, like, even her car, like license plate tag readers. Remember, Scammy knew where all those were in Truckee. She did some kind of internship with the Truckee Police Department. Interesting, huh? And then her parents running a private eye. Sarah, what was it called? Sarah. Oh, Sarah Agents. You remember what it's called? Truckee, California, private eye investigation company, Sierra. Yes, Sierra Investigative Services. There it is. Don't you just love? This is why I love the ability to look stuff up like that when the brain doesn't function. Sierra Investigate Services. So not only did Scammy's parents own that, James, and what did her mom go by? Like Bobo or something like that? Baba? Cindy Smith, who is an attorney, who the dad was a private eye, the mom was an attorney. So not only did they own the Sierra Investigates security company, they also managed tens of billions of dollars of government contracts for the area. Everything financial in Truckee went through Scammy's parents. I think something financial happened with Kylie Rodney. I think somebody might have paid a lot of money for her, possibly. She would be just their type, wouldn't she? You know, a lot like Virginia Giuffre. I don't know. I'm just crazy conspiracy theorist, so don't worry about me, right? Just making it up. I mean, there's good reason to wonder these things. You know, I brought up last week about Kylie Rodney's lungs weighing like 100 or 110 grams. I think one was 100, one was 110. Like, that's the size of a baby's lungs. And when someone drowns, their lungs are going to weigh even more because of the thing about gravity and water and weight, you know? Stuff is crazy making. Anyway, what else do I want to talk about here? I want to know how old Sydney Sweeney is, you guys, with all this creepy talk about her. Let's see what AI says. Age of Sydney Sweeney. She's 27. Man, she looks like she could be 16, doesn't she? And that commercial where she's like laying on her back, buttoning up her jeans and talking about how we get our genes from our family. It's very incestuous. It's very, very incestuous. I'm just going to say it because I haven't heard anybody else say it. It's gross. It's stupid. So yeah, bringing the age of punishment down to the age of 14 to punish people in our judicial system as if they're adults, try them as adults, seems to me a very calculated attempt at Donnie trying to say, well, the person was 14 and, you know, she could have been an adult. We can treat them like adults when they're 14. No. I mean, every state is different, but it's pretty consistent across our country, 18. Some states do have 16 as a cutoff age and other ages. I've looked into it. I think France is 16 or under. It might even be less. But yeah, I think that Donnie would be doing himself a favor if he at least tried to pretend that he was upset with Jiz for being such a dirty, rotten criminal and exploiting kids. he should at least pretend that he's not a fan of that kind of thing, but he doesn't realize how much she tells on himself, right? And as I always say, for that we can thank him. Okay, what else do we got here? Today is the 6th. Yesterday was the 5th. I think I just have one more page of notes. Sorry that I'm like so scattered. I'm always scattered, so I just feel like I'm a little extra scattered today with my teeth problem. But Anna Bees, thank you so much for being here and being the wind under my wings as I can barely think or speak. Hopefully it'll get easier. I mean, it's only been like 48 hours. It's Wednesday. Yeah, I was in that orthodontist chair all morning on Monday from like 9:30 until about noon. And then I was just in utter pain ever since. Like I can barely sleep, I can barely eat, I can barely talk. So this last hour of talking is way more talking than I've done the whole last 48 hours. I've just been quiet and laying low. You know, I took the dogs to the dog park with my daughter yesterday, which required me to interact with people. And I also went to the grocery store yesterday, which required me to interact with people. And I just tell them right away because I feel like they're staring at my teeth. I'm like, yeah, I just got braces yesterday, so I don't know how to talk with them yet. And it's funny because the only way that they don't hurt is if I do that, like curl my lips above and below them, because then they can't cut up the inside of my lips. Remember Peter Brady had that fork chops and applesauce. I feel like Peter Brady. It is really comfortable though to do that. Other than the wax, that's the only relief that I get. The commercial was very rectual. I love you, Jazz. Oh, Anna Bees, you're so sweet. I love you too, my dear. Let's see. Yeah, more of these survivors stepping forward. I am so excited to learn more about Shantae Davis and one named Aniska. Or is it Aniska Shantae Davis? I'm not sure. I just wrote those names down and I was going to look into them. Oh, yeah. So Parkrose Permaculture. She did a video a couple of days ago that I just caught yesterday where she talks about that same exact thing I was talking about, where when Donnie uses terms like hoax, cover up, scam, I know nothing about it, all of the tells when you know he's lying. Sorry, I gotta take this wax out of my mouth. It's just coming off of my teeth. Because yeah, you know, it's warm in your mouth, so the wax moves around and kind of melts, and it's just nonstop. Anyway, so I've heard a couple of these quotes come out of Trumpster Fire's mouth. I think yesterday he said that he's worried that people are going to accuse him of some funny business. And he said, quote, "They're going to F me anyways," end quote. I think those are two quotes from him in the last 24 hours. And Jessica Tarloff, man, she's awesome. She's an investigative journalist for Fox News. If you've ever seen Fox News and you saw somebody on Fox News that seemed like they really had a good head on their shoulders, it was her. Jessica Tarloff. Love her. And the last thing I want to say, well, a couple of things. I want to say because woke. So, Anna B's, whenever there's a problem with anything, you just say because woke, blame it on woke, right? I think I wrote that down because I think I heard Dear Leader actually say because woke. I think he actually said that, and that's why I wrote it down. And I was thinking that's hilarious. I'm going to start saying that because woke. OMG. But this is a real serious question. Did Virginia Guffrey or Gouffre, everybody says it different. I'm pretty sure it's one of those. Did she have an executor of her estate? Because she probably did. She was probably paid somewhere to the tune of about $19 million in settlements with the royal family. And there were other settlements too. There were settlements, I'm not even sure. You know, she had accused Dear Leader of doing to her what she also accused Alan Dershowitz doing to her, that she also accused Jeffrey and Jiz doing to her. So she recanted her allegations against Dear Leader, and she recanted her allegations against that hideous Harvard professor, lawyer, dirtbag. But there's a lot of other people who have made accusations of both of them. And, you know, people aren't going to make up allegations that are going to get them rubbed out. I'm sorry, but no, that's not the way the world works. But people will recant their allegations when they're threatened or when they're paid or both. So, yeah. And again, this could be the reason that Dear Leader won't allow anyone to see his tax records, is because of all the millions of dollars that he's paid off in hush money, not just to Stormy Daniels. Not just to Stormy Daniels. But I'm just really appreciative of all of the, it's almost like a resurgence of the Me Too movement. It's kind of like the Me Too 2.0, right? Me Too 2. And E. Jean Carroll is a big part of it. Virginia Guffrey or Gouffre, also a big part of it. Maria Farmer, Annie Farmer, huge. Sarah Ransom, huge. The list goes on and on. And I'm going to keep learning as much as I can about these survivors. And yeah, we got to remember to call them survivors, not just victims, right? I mean, it's terrible. People defining themselves as victims or other people defining them as victims. There's so much more than that. There's people who have been literally and figuratively screwed, right? It's disgusting. Oh, Fred says mowing done. 1 second. Sorry, absolutely disgusting. I know, so ladylike. Mowing done, cooling down. By the way, you sound the same with the braces. Oh, well, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. No, I actually do take that as a compliment. Well, maybe I'm learning how to talk with them. And I actually didn't think I'd be able to do this. I mean, I've been talking for an hour and 23 minutes nonstop. And thanks for being here and being a part of it and listening. I really didn't think I'd be able to. I thought I would just come on and talk for as long as I could until my face fell off or something. But yeah, probably the more I do it, the better I'll get at it. Because now that you say that, Fred, you've given me so much confidence. I can barely hear myself sounding like I have a mouthful of braces and wax. All right. Howdy dish. Pork chops and apple sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I know there's a ton of other important things I wanted to share with my people, but I don't want to push my luck. Thank you so much for being here. But Fred just got back, so now I don't want to bail. Are you done with your chores for the day? It is Wednesday the 6th. It is just about 20 minutes to 4 here in Ohio. So it's like 20 minutes to 3 there in the Chicago area. Man, all these effing shootings. Let's talk about all the chaos for a minute. Earthquakes everywhere, shootings everywhere, stabbings everywhere. Some of that is just real life, but I think that there's a lot more of it than there normally is. And why don't I just pull out my phone and see if there's some crazy thing that just happened that I need to know about before I wrap it up with you guys. Oh, an emergency at Fox panics on air over Trump emergency meeting. Oh, good. Good. And yeah, we're also coming up on the anniversary of the Watts tragedy. That 2018, I think. So that'll be 7 years in about a week. Yeah, 1 week and 1 day. It'll be 7 years for those adorable, precious little baby girls and Shanann and the little baby Nico in her belly. And still, I don't want to say no justice, but not real justice in that case. Definitely not. Okay, so I'm going to read a post that David Pakman put up 3 hours ago. It says, I must commend right-wing media for their courageous coverage of DT's bizarre behavior, yelling about nukes from the roof of the White House. Oh, wait, they're pretending it's normal behavior. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ooh, and Katie Fang, she is rocking it, you guys. The cool thing about YouTube is that everybody has their own channel, right? Like all these mainstream media journalists and reporters like Katie Fang, Katie Couric, Don Lemon. The list goes on and on and on and on. That Tom Hartman guy, he is freaking brilliant. I'm going to put a link to one of his videos in the description. But Katie Fang is so good too. And 2 hours ago, she dropped another video about more of Little E's survivors breaking silence as Trumpster fires cover up cracks. I'm telling you, it's going down. It's going down like 4 flat tires, people, right? Yes, 7 years. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, I've told you guys how much I love the Occupy Democrats channel. Very good. And this is a new one to me. Political Punk seems very good. Damage Report is really good. And Legal AF, also really good. And MSNBC, man, they've been killing it. They have been killing it. Wait, Stephen King exposed Trumpster fire? Stephen King says most Americans have had enough. Interesting. All right, Stephen King. Good for you. I like it. Yeah, I need to go put more wax on my braces and relax my lips from all the scratching up that I've done. Just drink some ice water, maybe. So yeah. Thanks again. I did do a yoga video. I haven't been recording my yoga lately, and I haven't been doing it as religiously. I've been walking more. So I try to go for a walk every day and do yoga every day. But honestly, I'm lucky if I get one or the other, and I can't usually do both. But anyway, so I haven't been recording my yoga that much because I know not that many people are excited to see it, and it's the same old. But I did record it last night, and I put it up as a members only, but maybe I'll change that to make it for everybody. Because the studio, it keeps evolving, and I love it. So Peace out, you guys. Love and light. Thanks for being here. And yeah, let's watch this Trumpster fire just burn itself down. He's his own worst enemy. What was that quote that I put in the title? Other countries took advantage of the United States like we were children. What a weird thing to say, mofo. But for that, we can thank you. See, it's funny. It's like the conscience, the unconscious wants to tell the truth. The body wants to tell the truth. Lying is stressful, even when you're very adept at it. Because without truth, you got nothing. Nada. Zip, zilch. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Yes, love and light. Stay hydrated. Eat your protein. Eat your veggies. Breathe. And I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. I'm going to do my best because I just miss you guys too much when I miss a day. Thanks a million. Love and light. Thank you kindly for putting up with me.